Welcome to Tell the Damn Story, the show that explores the many ways to navigate the successes and failures that aspiring and struggling writers face to make your journey that much easier. Over the years, while sharing tips, tales, and techniques to help you on your writer's journey, Tell the Damn Story's undergone a number of changes. While we're on hiatus, let's revisit episode 100 with the appropriate title, Why Tell the Damn Story?
Chris Ryan calling for Alex Simmons. Where you at, Alex Simmons?
I'm here. I've arrived.
You have arrived. We have arrived in more than one way.
Big time.
Big
Why
episode.
are you so excited, Mr. Ryan?
Because this is episode 100.
That's
100.
Right.
We've done this 199 other times.
00. Yes, we did it. We made it.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
So on the occasion of the 100, we decided we're gonna talk about those issues a little bit today.
Oh yeah,
those episodes.
We're going to talk about those issues, but we're also going to talk about. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the journey. We'll talk about the people that we've encountered along the way.
Yeah.
And
it's a fun-filled episode.
Yeah,
Lots happening.
Well, I'm going to have fun, and you're filled. So that you just ate, right?
I am definitely filled.
But before we get going, where are you? Because you are not anywhere near me.
No, I am in beautiful Lavallette, New Jersey. Apparently, the summer tour of New Jersey continues. We were at Parsippany a couple of weeks ago for Deadly Ink, and we've done a couple interviews from there, and there are a couple more interviews coming up the next couple of weeks. But this is family vacay time, so I agreed.
Wait a minute. Who are you with then?
I'm with the goddess.
There you go.
At the moment, I am with Sunny D-O-double-G, sitting on the end of the bed. And Tyler is here, and Sean is coming down. He's got work, so he's coming down in a day or two. So, we're giving it a shot. We got somebody who had a place, and we're going to do it a week and see how it goes. Excellent. So the idea was to finish the rewrite project that I'm on and take the week. And I'm still fussing. I have Act 3 to do. It has been extraordinarily rewarding, but I've got all the work with me, and I'm doing it every morning. So it's a working vacation, of course.
Yes, husband's holiday, yeah.
Yeah, and I get to talk to you, so this is more fun work. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah, where's the croissants? I thought we were going to have croissants and espresso,
I tell you, we got to work on that budget, bro.
Yeah. We'll talk money later, right? So, just to touch on it, because you were saying doing the work, and I don't know how much of our audience is aware that you're doing a repolish on something, right?
Yeah, it's part of the complete reboot of me. There's a potential, possible, maybe interest, but they wanted to see the book put through the eyes of a professional editor. Mm-hmm. And I have signed the contract this week with that editor, but I told her I wanted to go through it first myself, and she thought that was a great idea. And this is an award-winning book, okay? It won 2 awards. One of the awards was made up for this book. The guy read it. He was a book reviewer in the Baltimore area, radio guy, nice guy. And he loved the book so much that he created this independent thing for it to celebrate, which one about. And yet I'm going through it again, right? So
what does that say?
It just, we're always learning, right?
Yeah.
And the conferences that I've gone to in the last couple of years and all that stuff, including John Sanford at International Thrillers, that really, I think, put me over the top when he talked about polishing. And he said, polishing is an immense pain in the ass, but it's really necessary. And then he went through how he did it. And I have been going through this novel, this already award-winning novel, page for page, reading every chapter out loud, and stopping if there's a stumble or if I can make a sentence simpler, or choose a better word. I mean, I've really been focusing on all that. Is this the character? All that stuff. The author, Jim Facili, I had mentored under him through Mystery Writers of America, and he had pointed out, the excerpt that he read, there are a couple of things that I've since become referring to as time anchors, where, you put something in and it signifies a time, but then a couple of years go by and it pulls
You mean
your book.
that time of what in like?
Well, for example, anchoring them to a certain era of music. As the years go by, that ages your character. That Jim Facili made this great point that meanwhile you're having new prospective readers come up who don't feel that same way about that music. So you are limiting who might enjoy your book. And the idea is to get your book. So you really have to think about it. If it's a choice, and he pointed out to one of the things that could potentially be considered a time anchor, he says that's integral to the plot. But are these others? And he really was generous with his time and his insights, and I've learned from him. So going through it and making each and every aspect of it better. And in the process, I started making these amazing connections. There's an excerpt or the segment in the book, a sequence where Mallory flashes back onto his teenage years when he lost a good friend and was angry at God for it. And there was another episode right after that where Monsignor, he's struggling with whether or not he can belong to the church, and he went back to Mass and he went to penance, and the Monsignor said, did you go to confession before you came back and received? And he said, no. He said, well, you committed a mortal sin. And they have this argument about that.
Mallory and the Monsignor.
Young Mallory, in this flashback. And he left the church, right? So it was youthful anger and all that sort of stuff. But then I'm looking at it, and I minimized it and edited and, made it nice, because you don't need a flashback to be that long. 20 chapters later, a priest comes in who's an exorcist.
Now we're in the present day, and he's old.
And yeah.
Right.
And I'm reading that. It's like, why is Mallory so antagonistic towards this priest? And I was like, okay, that works. So, it's been an interesting experience on many levels, but it has taken what I consider finished work to a much higher level.
I want to just jump in there. Hey, excellent example of the process that you're going through, and it triggered in me also the thought of something that's just happened with me. I created my character, as you know, Blackjack, over 30 years ago.
Yes.
And we started actually creating stories and things, working with you and some of the illustrators and the graphic designer Liz and all these people started working on that like over 25 years ago. And at the time when I was creating it, I always knew Erin, Blackjack, had an older sister by a little bit, a year or two. And when they traveled with their parents around the globe. I'm doing this for folks who have no idea what I'm talking about. They traveled around the globe as kids and teenagers with the father who was a mercenary, and they got to see a lot. And at a certain point, the parents get killed. Aaron and his sister stay in Europe for another 5 years, living with friends of the family, and then they come back to the United States. And Aaron wants to follow in his father's footsteps. And the sister says, you know what, I understand you want to do that, but I can't stay around here and watch you do that. So I'm leaving. So Aaron's landed in New York, and his sister's telling him, I'm heading out. I'm going south. I'm going to go down south, and I want to have some peace, and I want to have a little place, and I don't want to have to, wait for the bad news, that you're coming back or something like that. But we're family, and I love you, and all. So I knew all of this. It was all really clear in my head, except I wasn't really clear. Why the heck was I sending a black woman in the 1930s to go live in the South?
Right.
That was not clear in my head. And at a point, I didn't even question it initially. And as the years rolled on, I was trying to do some stories about her because I always wanted to do that. I'm going, why do I have her in the South? And now she's moved to the Southwest, but she's still in the South. It's still the 1930s. She's black. Whole bunch of things are not going to be easy for her or wonderful.
And
we're going to, do
and she
stuff.
was mobile. She had a choice.
She had a choice,
So
and
it wasn't like she was strapped in there or trapped.
And she wasn't
She chose to go down there.
And she had an education. She was a little more worldly wise than 90% of the people she was running into. Why did I do that? No idea, but it felt like organically the right thing. She had a reason. So for years, I was trying to do these stories on her. I had a couple of them drawn, and it just never happened. So finally, end of last year, I decided, damn it, 2019, it's coming out. I'm going to do an anthology of short stories about her. I'm going to get it done. I don't care what it takes. And I want to dedicate it to my daughter, because a lot of it was about strong women in my life. My mother, my grandmother, some friends of mine. And here's my daughter coming along, and she's proving to be that. And I want her to know she comes from that. And, it's a good thing. And so I got a draft done by May, which is her birthday month. And I dedicated it to her, so she knew about it. And I kept working on it. And then I released a soft release in June. All right. Some people got a hold of it. One of them being an avid reader of the blackjack stuff, and he enjoys it and everything. And he comes back, I'm enjoying the stories and everything like that. He says, but I found these typos. I'm thinking, oh, God, I had somebody look it over. And then I go back to look at that, and I'm looking at some of the sentences. Now, I had reworked it between May and July. I had reworked it and uploaded a new draft. And I'm reading it, and I'm going, that line could be cleaner. And this it could be tighter. And I know that's her voice, but something's not. And I'm thinking, oh, God. You either have that choice of saying, well, damn it, it's out there already. What the point? Or going, nah, this ain't right yet.
Yeah.
The homework, do the work.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. So I'm going back into it. And you talking about this the other day, as a matter of fact, you brought it up. That was, I had just gone in my head. I got to go back to it. And here you were saying, and I said, yep, that's it. That's what we are.
I mean, the Gunnar and Mallory books are not on the market right now. And I think in the long run, everybody's going to be better off because the writing is just better. And
I will defend you on this, though. I will say this about that. Yes, it can be better. What we do can be better. There's a point when we have to let go. But yes, up until that point, it can be better. But I don't feel, because I've read them, I don't feel that you shortchanged us.
Oh, no, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest with you. I did not think that. I just thought they were going to be part of the back catalog at this point. It was having a conversation. And when I went to Thriller Fest, Consult Fest, they kept asking me, oh, well, you didn't send your pitch in. You didn't send your pitch in yet. I said, I'm not pitching. I don't want to pitch anything. It's a Consult Fest, and I'm paying to consult with some people. I have questions, and I want to ask. And I got pushed back a little bit on it. I said, listen, over the years at different conferences, I've gotten tons of conflicting information. And I want to look at industry professionals in the eye, ask them, and I want to gauge their answers so I can make some decisions for myself. And they were like, okay, we see what you mean. Fine. We will just tell the two people you're going to talk to. And I got, honestly, I got very different answers from the two people I spoke to. But with the second one, I came down, sat down, and just gave him my card, which has all the book covers on it and, a tagline or something. And she wanted to know about the blackjack books, and then she wanted to know about, and she went to this the City series, the Gunnar and Mallory series. And I mentioned that one won 2 awards, and she zeroed in on that. And one of the things that I've been told is that anything you put out independently, no one will ever look at. And this professional, she said, no, I would look at that with an idea of republishing it, under our company, and here are the parameters that I would do that under. and that's what I'm doing now. So it wasn't originally part of the plan, and I didn't expect to spend this summer. I have 5 or 6 more concepts that are short and fun, and that's what I thought this summer was going to be. But
It's like that.
this is tied into Mary. I think one of the things that I've always believed in is that there's a subconscious thing going on with creatives, and sometimes you make connections that you really weren't aware of. I'm listening to another podcast with one of your friends, Chris Golden, called Defenders Dialogue, and they use the run of this, I guess it's Silver Age or Bronze Age Marvel, lesser heralded Marvel title, The Defenders, to talk about what goes on in there and choices made, and then creativity from there. So they really love the J.M. DeMatteis run, and they were talking about, they had an interview with him after they talked about all the issues, and he said, a lot of times, I'm listening to the podcast that you're doing, and I'm saying, I didn't realize I made that connection. I didn't realize I made that connection. He says, he's a big believer in the subconscious connections that happen, and I'm starting to see that here, and the connection between my work and your work this past few months is that I think there's a need for these two stories. In essence, Mallory and Gunnar represent all of us, and they go through the steps of Dante's Inferno, not realizing. It's about how we make the world hell for each other, and I think flip on a headline, on social media or TV or anywhere, and a lot of people are making life hell for a lot of different people. And I think women are in that crosshair, from being abused to being ostracized to being, just this week, a president of a major country talked to another president about not letting 2 of his rivals into that country. That's unprecedented. That's never happened before, and shameful and all that stuff. But you lose faith as a member of that group if you start seeing this happen. And you've had these ideas, these Marriott stories, for a long time. But right now, when certain groups are in need of that energy, in need of that, I'm sorry, the dog is looking at himself in the mirror and trying to get out the door at the same time. He's like, who's that dog keeping me from coming out of the room? But I think
go out of the room looking for that dog.
Yeah, that's a handsome dog, but he should let me go.
Yeah.
But I think the Mary stories offer an energy and a strength that is helpful at this time, and that's part of the mystic part. And I don't want to be too spacey, but I think that's part of the mystic part of creativity, and one of the things that we celebrate for 100 episodes.
Yeah, I was going to say for 100 episodes, and we will, certainly take these on even more, because in another episode, I really want to get more into the Mallory Gunnar experience that you're having. There's a lot of seller stuff, folks, that he's attic and cellar stuff that you're not hearing about right now, that it's just so fascinating. But we will get to that. I will, I mentioned a little bit about Mary, and there's a couple other things I'm working on, a couple other opportunities. And I will hopefully be talking about those in the other episodes. But I also, because I mentioned this fan who pointed out the problems. And I want to say that one of the things that I've enjoyed on this journey of Tell the Damn Story, on all the episodes. And by the way, hey there, Tim, wherever you are. I know it's this. We started this with Tim Fielder and Chris and I. And, journeys are journeys. Sometimes there's a fork in the road, and one group goes one way and another person goes another. So Tim's out there, and he sends us love, and we send it back to him. And it's 100 episodes, buddy. We're still at it.
To date ourselves, Tim is for me partially like when we were kids. There was a game called Battling Tops, and you'd zip all these tops. The tops would go into the middle of the arena at top speed. Every once in a while, one would hit the other just right, and it would go flying across the room and keep spinning and like spin itself into a whole different place. That feels kind of like Tim because Tim was with us. Boom, boom, boom. We did a lot of stuff. He actually sparked one of the blackjack stories that we offer for free. All this stuff, and then went bam, and he's done museum displays and independent books, and his innovations and Afrofuturism, and New York Times picked up some of his stuff for a while. Yeah,
it's
that
Johnny
energy,
Appleseed. He's out there just throwing them suckers all over.
he really is, and I find that energizing, and I'm always proud to see I knew him at a little moment. Off he goes. There's a family of those people. Say what?
I said he doesn't talk about us, but that's not important. No.
That's that's okay.
I'm only kidding. Yeah, truly, I'm kidding. Tim.
Yeah, Tim. Where's
Tim,
love?
Those guys.
Come on, Tim.
We
Come
know.
on, give us some love, Tom.
And there's no way to get around it. But the reason I was bringing this up is, 100 episodes, a lot of stuff that we've talked about over the years. And because it's our 100th episode, I made a little list. I have a list here, right? Made a little list of some of the episodes that stood out with me and that we even got some feedback from or just a reaction from. Like was episode, it's just working backwards, folks, a little working backwards. Episode 84 was our episode about Endgame. And Chris, I just lost your face. Are you still there?
All right. Yeah, give me a minute. My face will be back.
Just wanted to make sure I hadn't lost you entirely. Endgame, we did a whole thing about Endgame, pretty much deconstructed the film that we loved, by the way. So that's not a negative. And one of our fans got back to us with saying, it was she enjoyed the episode, and she particularly also enjoyed the film. And she was excited that, we had brought out the point that they had taken some very serious, realistic emotions and reactions and human interactions in tragedy and loss and dealt with it very organically and honestly in the film. And, that I appreciated was that obviously, A, she was listening to us, but that B, that we did touch on something that was very important to her enjoyment of that film. We had another person who was talking about, this was episode 78, about giving credit to artists, who created things or brought out, told great stories and making sure that they got acknowledged for that. And we were talking in particular about a couple of situations where these artists were being overlooked, like Billy Graham had been overlooked for a while, even though he did his wonderful artwork and was one of the first artists on Luke Cage, did that wonderful long run with Panther's Rage that Don McGregor wrote, the Black Panther, early days, it was like a year-long story. And he hadn't gotten the recognition he deserved. And we were talking about that in one of the episodes. And that inspired one of our listeners to actually begin her own campaign. This is another totally different person. Begin her own campaign to try and make sure that the artists and writers that she knew of who were not getting the recognition were, credited for the work that they've done and the fact that we appreciate that. So, it was kind of exciting to sort of revisit some of those things and find out, geez, some of the stuff we talked about actually went out there and affected people in a positive way.
Oh yeah, and I've come up with a top 5.
Oh, have you done
top 5? But being an English teacher, not a math teacher,
mm-hmm.
I found there's 6 of them in my top 5.
Your top 5 at 6, okay.
Yeah. So my face is gonna disappear for a minute.
Oh,
so
okay.
I can read the list, okay?
Okay.
But
all right.
you can still hear me.
Okay, I can definitely hear you.
All right. So number 6 was
of your top 5.
Of my top 5. Number 6 of my top 5 favorite episodes. Number 6 is Charlottesville. This was after the incident in Charlottesville, where we kind of had some Nazis and some protesters, and one guy ran his car into killing somebody. It was just horrible. And we got on and talked about it. And the reason it's on the list is we were raw with emotion and heartbreak. And that was honest, and it is that kind of stuff that then fuels creativity,
Mm.
and we've gone from there. Number 5 was the episode where we had a frank discussion, you and I. And the question was, can I, as a white guy, write blackjack?
Mm.
And I thought it was a pretty interesting episode because it addresses a dangerous area of overreach that has come up in recent years. Right now, comedians hate doing colleges because students, bookers, they believe they can dictate to an artist what that artist can talk about. If I
Mm.
was the comedian, I would never take the gig. But at the same instant, I have a list of things that I am very careful talking about in my role as a high school teacher. You know, the space between those two concepts is razor thin, but significant. And I think exactly in that space between those two ideas, where some college booker thinks he can dictate what an artist should and should not do, and self-censoring because you're talking to minors. In between that spot was this whole idea about who can write about whom,
Mm.
and I think it was necessary. I think we resulted in the idea that anyone should be able to discuss, write, and create about anything.
As
But
long as they do their homework.
yeah, it's the approach that matters. And I came
Yeah.
up with 3 words: respect, research, and reference for authentic accuracy. And that's what's crucial. And that's why I thought that episode was really good. Number 4 out of my top 5, that is 6, um, the episode when we talked about working through depression,
Oh
because,
yeah.
right? We
That was,
all,
I think that was episode 79.
yeah, it wasn't that long ago. And
Mm.
we're talking about that we all suffer at least imposter syndrome, if not worse. And then the idea that having some place or knowing that you're not alone, that can mean everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get personal for a minute. I have a former student that I follow on Instagram, and she is suffering with MS, and that makes me cry, not out of pity, but out of pride, because she's reaching out, even as she's experiencing this hideous health thief, because of her love for others in pain. And that love is
Mm.
stronger than the challenges set before her.
There you go.
She's exactly the kind of American who should be discussed during the 24-hour news cycle, not some dementia laden carnival barker. And you can take your pick
Woo.
of those people today. That
Wow.
young lady, she's an American hero, and you know, she is working through all of the weight of that and helping others at the same time. I'm amazed. All right, episode number 3 is actually another cheat because it's multiple episodes. The Deadly Ink and Pulp Fest interviews. I find that I really enjoy celebrating creatives in that way. I think
Mm-hmm.
talking to them in a raw, unedited way is fun and fascinating. I always learn something. I always have a regret. I wish I could ask this, after the interview and all that stuff. But I think those are the fun additions to the show. We got 2 more. Number 2 is the Don McGregor interview. Here's my reason why it's all the way up at number 2.
Oh,
If
God.
we're honest with ourselves, Alex,
No.
we lost control of that episode as soon as we introduced Don McGregor. He was off and running
Yep.
like a combination wild stallion and over energized Harley Davidson. It was amazing. And if you go back and listen to it, sometimes you have to listen closely, but he gave us so much wisdom so generously that it's got to be one of the best. And I got to say, Avengers Endgame, because that energy is an essential part of our friendship since, you know, just before the caveman arrived. Um, and and it's what allows me, at least, and I think you, to keep going no matter what. It's that energy, that love, that thrill of story, you know. Um, and it's, I think that that idea, that charge that we get out of story and being able to share that has been like a spine for these 100 episodes. So there's my six top five.
Absolutely. And by the way, anybody who's now going, the Don McGregor, I got to listen to that. It was episode 74. Okay.
Yeah, and it's
Definitely, yeah. You need to experience that. If you've never been run over in heavy traffic, you should definitely check that one.
and here's a true behind the scenes on that one. Alex and I prepared for that one. We each had somewhere between 15 and 30 questions. If you listen to that episode, I think we get two questions, maybe three. And but he covers most of the stuff we were going to talk about anyway. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Because he is a storyteller. It is what he does, and he's passionate about it. Let me sort of just jump in here. Thank you, by the way, for those wonderful top five that are.
I hope it was fun.
Yes. One of the things that as I said, I sort of reached back. I was looking at some of the commentary that people gave in reaction to some of our episodes. And I actually have some material here from some of the folks who have actually commented on, and I have it recorded.
It's like a special guest star.
So I'm going to play you a couple of because people can comment. They can send us emails or whatever. So here's a comment from one of our listeners right now, and it's amazing. Anyway, here we go.
In my preparation for this event, I realized that I had only recently, say within the last 7 to 8 months, become a fan of the Tell the Damn Story podcast. So when you asked me to comment for this 100th episode special, I was honored, but I really felt totally inadequate to the task of commenting on the depth and breadth of the show. So as usual, I began to do my homework and found myself in the archives. My jaws dropped and my eyes bugged out at the topics and talents covered by this show, you guys. It covered everything and pretty much everybody. The big houses, the indies, popular culture, not just here in the States, but around the world. The history of the comics business, and even more importantly, the process of creating what I call the truest artistic journals of human history.
Wow.
You and Chris speak of animation and regular books, strips, movies, graphic novels, the nuts and bolts about getting into the business, the highs and the pitfalls, and you discuss current and future trends. The thing that made this so amazing to me personally is that you not only cover this from a personal experience aspect, but as professionals as well. And not only from yourselves, but from totally recognizable, monumental contributors of the business. For an art form that continuously must fight the never-ending battle for relevance and existence, this is not only of paramount importance, but definitely important to every aspect of life for this medium, for generations now and to those to come in the future. Chris and you covered the entire scene with such intensity. It touches the emotions, the mind, and one's very soul. I can't even begin to express my appreciation for what the both of you have created here. My words fail to even begin to express the significance of such a thing. While podcasting is an extremely viable medium, the only critique I would make is that, if possible, there should be an attempt of a video format. People need to see you guys as well as hear, the wisdom and see the magnificence of what you both have provided for us. Congratulations for your 100th episode, guys, and may you have at least 10,000 more.
Wow. Wow. That was Dion, is that correct?
That's Dion, yeah. Yeah,
wow,
I know.
Thank you, Dion. That is amazing. Humbling, right?
Yeah, humbling? we've talked about this on occasions, because we folks, we do what we do. We talk about what we talk about. We come from the heart and the head. We screw up. We soar. We fall. All that stuff, and we just put it out there. And you have no idea, most of the time, how it's resonating. I don't. I'm not one of those people who like hovers over analytics. Every now and then I'll go to, because we tend to put this out on the first platform is Anchor, and then it distributes it to all the others. And so I'll go to the Anchor analytics, and occasionally I'll go look at the little colorful wheel. It's pretty wheel here, and it's divided into colors. So I know that the majority of our audience is from the United States, and I went, okay, that makes sense. And then I look at some of the other colors and the little sizes of them, and I realize, oh, this is in Europe. This is in a particular country in Europe. So it's like, okay, so we're spewing this out there, but we don't know how people feel, and then you get responses. It's mind-boggling at times.
And I know we had a listener in South America for a while, which was wild. When we do this, just like we are right now, you're in your desk, right, and in your den. I tend to be there, but now I'm on vacation. But I'm in an empty bedroom, right? We're in a vacuum, and we do this in a vacuum. And the idea is two friends talking about their passion, and that if we're passionate about it, theoretically, there are others who are equally passionate about it and can benefit in some way, right? And then that's the be-all, end-all, because we haven't sitting there and say, you know what? This will make us rich, because not a penny. That's not what we've ever. It's all been about. This is.
It's important.
We want to put it out there, right?
Yeah.
And then to hear something like what Dion recorded. Oh my God, and every once in a while we'll get someone drop us a line or talk to us, in a con,
Let me, since you set that up, let me. Someone dropped us a line. So we got one from Carla, who I know a couple of things about. One of them is I know that Carla has been what's known as a griot, or a storyteller for children in particular in the Philadelphia area for years. And life throws stuff at us, and sometimes we find ourselves in that funk, and we've talked about that. And so, knowing that that's some of the things that she's dealt with, we received this email from her, and she says, "Congratulations on your 100th episode. I wanted to let you both know how much I appreciate your candid discussions and dialogue on the art and industry of writing. It is encouraging to hear the habits that I've developed are ones that you, as my mentors, also have."
Wow.
Mentors. Geez, Thanks to your show, I am again writing and recording my stories. I am also developing a radio program around Philadelphia stories to premiere in the spring.
Very cool.
I am grateful to you two wonderful creators for sharing your best practices and craft with minions like me.
I think she's got that script flipped, man.
Yeah.
We could learn at her feet.
That. Carla, we'll be coming for you on that one. But her sign off is your sister in storytelling, Mama Carla Wiley. And
I'll embrace that. She's definitely a sister in storytelling. That's pretty cool.
And she in particular, she tells stories from the heart. And she works with children. And you got to be real with kids. You got to be honest with kids. You got to be with
they'll
kids.
Sniff it out in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And they follow her around. It's the Pied Piper motion here. It's like,
That's
and I'm not
cool.
talking just about little toddlers. I'm talking about teenagers and people. They feel her love. They feel her heart. They feel her sincerity, and they gravitate towards her. And that's a big part of being a creative. Is, you mentioned the word before, your passion, love for what you do. So that's another one. And and hearing from her and having thank you, Carla. Thank you.
Carla, that was beautiful. We are humbled.
And
we're learning from you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I don't know if people realize this, but Chris and I, and people like us, we share, we do these things, And we do them for the right reasons. We do them because we feel like maybe this will help somebody else because someone was there for us, or however, the thoughts flow. It empowers us. It rejuvenates us to hear your feedback.
Yes.
And like I said, even from some of the people say, there was a typo here or such and such. It's like, I wish I'd caught that, but thank you. You cared enough to let me know, and I'm going to try and make it better. And those are empowerments that we really are thankful for and appreciative for. I assure you.
Oh, great, 100%. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I got another one for you because we got two more. Can you handle it?
All right.
You can handle it. Right?
I'm gonna try and handle it.
I'm gonna try. Okay.
We're not used to this, so, yeah. But it's the 100th episode, so
it's
let's
the 100th
celebrate.
episode, and we get to do this in the 100th episode. So here we go. Here's Juan. All right, if I got this right now.
Greeting, guys. This is Juan Espinosa, the writer and creator of Adventure of Assistant Admin. I would like to congratulate Alex and Chris on their 100th episode.
Wow.
This has been a great journey for me. I have been listening to them since around episode 20.
Wow.
It's been great. I have learned a lot. They always got tips for writers and artists overall. And it's always encouraging to listen to these two amazing writers give you tips. It feels personal when you listen to their podcast.
That's cool.
I will hope for them to have many, many more episodes so I can enjoy it. And please, Alex and Chris, keep telling the damn story.
Yeah, yes. Juan, that was fantastic, Juan. Thank you so much.
That's great. I love it.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
I love it.
That's it. He took over. He took off the show. Good job, Juan. That's fantastic.
Use that as a closer, man.
Wow. I tell you what, I'm like levitating off the bed here. That's so energizing.
Well, let me add
to hear good things.
Yeah, let me add to that fuel there, bro. Because Juan is a tech at a particular college. Since I don't have permission to tell where, I won't.
Right.
But he's a tech at this, and that was his thing. He's a husband and a father, wonderful children, all that good stuff. And he's an IT guy, right? He attended my kids' Comic-Con a couple of years, bringing the kids and all that stuff. And he started listening to this podcast. And he picked up a book that I wrote on creating comics. And he again became a regular of listening to us. And all those things came together, and he created his own comic book series called Adventures of a Systems Administrator. See, and it's not a manual; it's an actual. I think they're going to the third issue right now. And not only is it beautiful to look at, beautifully illustrated, beautifully colored, and all that, because Juan is Latino, he connected with. I forget who the organization was, but now it is in 2 languages. It's in English and Spanish, right? Just we put it out there. He picked it up and he said, "I'm running with this." And there he is. There he is now.
That's beautiful.
So and again, Chris and the folks who listen to the show know I've said this a million times. I suffered for years from Lone Ranger syndrome. Come into town, fight the bad guys, help people out, ride out of town before anybody can thank me or any kind of testimonies or anything like that. And you keep doing that because you're doing the right thing for the right reason, because you believe in this. And again, this episode of hearing from people, that not only enjoy what we do, but have gained something from it. It's like you said, you're levitating, you're flying.
Oh yeah. And like Lone Ranger, I grew up, Irish household syndrome. Yeah, you'd try anything, they're like, "Oh, who do you think you are there? You're getting too big for your britches, thinking you can do that. You can't do that. Get yourself a job."
That's not bad.
That sounded like neither of my parents, by the way.
Yeah, I remember both of them, yes.
Yeah, but it's been a long journey to get past that to, it's okay to do this. If this is true to your heart, it's okay to do it in whatever form. And to talk about that, which we've done over and over and over again in the 100 episodes. And then to hear someone like Juan, who has taken off, and if there's anything that we did to help that, boy, that's the biggest compliment in the world. And that's really what the creative community is supposed to be about, right? It's it's yes you can, and let's do this
Yeah.
rather than no you suck, right?
Yeah. Right.
And man, it is such a compliment to hear someone like Juan take a moment out to talk about, any aspect of what we do. So thank you again, Juan. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. So this Dion and
Woo! This is a
Carlos and
fun 100th
Juan.
episode, I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
I'm having a good time. And again, Juan mentioned episode 20 was when he started watching our
Yeah. Wow.
episode 18 was how do artists feed the muse, right?
Yeah.
How do we feed ourselves, what inspirations and information
Mhm.
sources and all that. So that was 18. Episode by 24, we were up to discussing now, one thing is how do we spark the creativity? And then
Right.
episode 24, we're talking about does family friendly films have a place anymore?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like that is kind of the spectrum that we work within. It's all creative, but it's also about the human condition, the soul, the ups and downs. Constantly spewing negativity does impact on people.
That's right.
It does.
You know what? That's why I say fight evil, read books.
Yeah, all I can get is evil books because you got to
Oh.
see for yourself there. Look,
Let's see.
there, a little more. There you go. Okay, fight evil, read books. Thank you. Yes, it's funny. You
I forget where I ordered that,
Oh,
but I love that
completely
saying.
different message. Yeah, evil books.
Oh, fight evil, read books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we believe in story, and we believe in creativity in all forms.
Right.
But
So I got one more for you.
one more? I
One
might
more.
have to strap in. I don't know if I can take another compliment. Holy God.
Here it comes. This one is from a fellow artist and creative professional who's been out there for some years. And we've mentioned some of the things we've talked about. And here's a person who will mention a particular episode. But I'm going to hit you with this, and then we will come back to it. So let me just make sure. Am I all set up? Is it ready to go? Or is he going to be able to hear? Because I don't want Chris to be upset with me that you couldn't hear this. Okay, we're ready. Here we go.
Hi, Alex and Chris. This is Jersey Drozd of
Jersey!
Network.com and also of the Fabulous Secrets Microcast, which you can find at patreon.com/Jersey. And I just wanted to send you a message to congratulate you guys on 100 episodes. That is no small feat to check in every week and come up with a new topic and thoughtfully examine it and discuss it week after week. I'm so grateful to both of you for what you contribute to the world of, or the discussion of thinking about writing and art and communicating with words and pictures. And I get a lot of value out of what you do.
Wow.
And since I only have a couple minutes, I thought I would narrow it down to three things that I especially enjoy about your guys' brand of investigating story. So, for me, is that you guys are not prescriptive at all. The fact that your teachers really comes through, and it's a huge asset to the show, in that you use your own experiences to demonstrate and model and teach, but you almost celebrate that our own journeys will be our own. Like, you leave room for us to find our own way, and then you guys just identify the dangers ahead. But you recognize the fact that everybody's going to have their own approach to this, and you use your experiences just to be a way of mapping the territory, the map that you guys have done on your own, built off of other people's maps, and then passing the torch to us to say, now you contribute to the map.
Yeah.
So I always leave each episode feeling kind of activated, inspired, and like called to some kind of great adventure in this, to contribute to this medium of storytelling. Similarly related to is you guys demonstrate and model lifelong curiosity. When I was a kid and I decided I wanted to be a comic book artist, not having any context as to what that means, I just thought, well, I'm just going to draw really good, and Stanley's going to pull up in a car and ask me to get in. He's going to take me to New York, and I'm going to be on the Wizards. That's all. And once I draw Spider-Man, I don't have to think about it anymore. So I'll know how to address and solve every problem that life presents me. And then comes that point where you realize that adults don't have all the answers. And then you become an adult and you realize, oh, I'm still figuring this out on my own. And there's two different ways you could look at it. And one is you could say, oh gosh, this is a lot worse than I thought it was going to be, and this is kind of awful that I'm never going to be sure of myself. Or you could take the Alex and Chris approach and say, no, this means we get to learn for the rest of our lives. And there's always going to be a new thing for us to be curious about and to pick apart, and this will never, ever get boring. So I don't know if you guys are aware that you're doing this or not, how intentional this is, but either way, take a bow that you guys are really positive examples for the rest of us to follow, to say that, you know, the example I always talk about on my own podcast is that line, that bit in the Chronicles of Narnia where Peter and Edmund are standing in front of Aslan, and Aslan's telling them all the dangerous stuff that's about to happen as they're about to go to war with the White Witch. And Edmund thinks of the word danger, and Peter thinks of the word adventure. And you guys kind of frame it up in a sense of adventure, even when you're talking about tough stuff, even when you're talking about really difficult things. It never feels like despair is an option. So I really admire and appreciate the fact that you guys have that perspective and that approach. And then that leads me to my final one. This isn't the final. This is one of many, many reasons I really love you guys' show. But if I had to sum it up in 3, I would close with the fact that you guys are just so darn joyful. When I'm listening to these wise and thoughtful creators talk, I also hear the same spirit of 2 kids who just discovered a really cool new game to play. You guys were deconstructing Avengers Endgame. It was so fun to listen to. Just two boys getting really excited about how cool a story is. And I feel like that's my favorite kind of wisdom. The best kind of wisdom, it has experience and it has thoughtful reflection built upon failure and pain and frustration and anguish and all those things that come with being alive. But it never shakes off that sense of being a little kid really excited about a cool new thing to do, a cool new thing to engage with. So thank you guys for that too. So once again, Jersey Drozd, leanintoart.com, and thank you guys for everything you've done. Congratulations on 100 episodes, and I look forward to everything you guys are putting out in the world from here on out. Everything you guys do continues to buoy, support, and inspire me. So thanks again.
Wow, Jersey. Wow. Oh, man. Huge thanks. Humble thanks. Because Jersey, you know, he's got his own shows. He's got his own partners, and they do amazing things. So
and travel, you know, he mentioned inspiration and everything, and I guess I can just segue quickly into how I met Jersey. I met Jersey through a seasoned comic book industry professional named Dan Mishkin, who did a lot of work for Marvel as a writer and so forth. But I met Dan because Dan came, I mean, I knew him a little bit through the industry, but Dan came to one of the first Kids Comic-Con, which was 30 years ago, right? And he participated. And he went away so inspired, having seen the kids and the people coming and the artists sharing, sharing their craft and information with the children and the parents and all that. And he lives out not in the Midwest. He lives, Michigan, I think it is. And so he goes back there, Detroit. He lives right outside of Detroit. And he goes back there and he creates Kids Read Comics, an event, right? And you know, we mentored, because we can't be everything and we don't need to be everything. But more people doing this for families and children works for me. So he goes out and he creates this great thing out there. And through him, I meet Jersey. So as I said, they're out there doing their thing. Jersey's got his career going on. They're great guys. You know, I've never been able to make it out to their show, but there's been this back and forth dialogue. And then we had a chance to, you know, I was interviewed on Jersey's show and I was telling about our show, and they started listening. And the next thing I hear is Jersey talking about, you know, our episode on Endgame. You know, it's like, whoa, okay, you know, but it's mutual admiration, absolutely, but it's also, you know, it's affirming. It's great to know, to learn this way, and to feel the way I think both of us do at this moment, which is humbled. It's truly humbled.
But it's, you know,
more, but humbled. You
know, hashtag goals, right? The idea was to share to the community and to have so many of them share back. You know, that's the reader dream, or the writer dream, or the creative dream, you know, to put something out there and to complete the connection that someone else caught it, experienced it, and had a reaction to it. You know,
I'll-
that's
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
that's life affirming.
Yeah.
And well, thank Jersey and everybody who took their time out to help complete that circle, you know, and energize us to continue what we're doing. But wow, man,
Yeah.
I'm just knocked out. I really am.
Let me piggyback off of what you just said. 17 years old, actually turning 18 at that time in my life, meeting Billy Graham, the artist,
Mhm.
meeting Stan Lee, Jim Salicrup, Johnny Ramita Sr., Marie Severin, meeting these people whose work I'd known for years, but now meeting them as human beings and having them being open and warm to sharing what they do and how they do it with me at that age. I even met Mort Drucker at that age, you know, the cartoonist, famed cartoonist from Mad. Again, an open, warm, sharing person. I think as I got older, that's one of the things that stayed with me is there were people there for me when I was wandering around the land, trying to figure things out and trying to decide where I fit in and was I going to do this or, you know, feeling lost or confused. And they were there. They were there, just genuinely open to saying, "This is how I did it. This is what I know." You know, Dick Giordano. Tony Isabella. I could just drop names like crazy, not out of celebrity status, but out of the 100 some odd people who, over my lifetime, stepped up when I needed them.
Yeah.
You know, and this show, in a way, is also a celebration of that, and a way of you know, paying it forward.
Yeah.
So, you know,
it's one other thing as well. You know, in 2019 America, it's an act of defiance. It's an act of protest because in the face of so many things that are going on now, to love and to share that love, that's rebellion.
mm,
You know,
and I can handle.
and all I can say is join the rebellion.
And we're
share the love, share
rebellion.
what you know, share what you're passionate about.
Oh, yeah.
Continue it, yeah. And we're going to continue it for as many more episodes as we can. This has been amazing.
Let me mention very quickly, because it is coming to be that time. Let me mention, you were at Deadly Inc., and it came up during this conversation. There are more interviews you have from Deadly Inc., and they're going to be forthcoming. We've got a few of
We'll continue that next episode. Yeah.
Right. We've got a few of the Silver Age and Golden Age people who want to, you know, going to be on for interviews. I've got David Walker, who's got Bitter Roots and some new stuff coming out that he's going to be on. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be sharing, not only our journeys, but others as well. And we've even got some people from different countries who are going to be coming on the show to talk about their experiences from Europe and, you know, from Australia and India. So these are things that are happening because, again, we're open to it.
Yes, we are.
You know, and that's something to look forward to. So I'm very excited about the next 100.
Me too. And we're gonna, you know what we're gonna do those next 100? We're gonna tell a damn story every damn week.
Okay, folks, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Dion, Carla, Jersey, and Juan for taking the time to send in those thoughts. Chris and I are blown away now, but I guarantee we're going to be walking on air today, if not a couple of days.
And I love that they took over the show, man. That is fantastic.
Yeah. So. People, we ask every time, and we mean it. Send us your comments. Ask us your questions. We may not have all the answers, but we'll certainly dig for as many as we can come up with. And we also learn from you. So once again, comment section, write in, whatever it is it takes. Let us know how you feel, how you're doing, what we can do for you.
Yeah, complete the circle. Tell the damn story. Pass it on. Let us know. Let's keep the conversation going.
Absolutely.
Alex,
go for it.
It's always a pleasure to do any kind of creative stuff with you, my brother.
Same, Cap. Enjoy your vacation. Give the goddess a hug for me.
I will.
And tell the kids I said howdy, and talk to you next week.
Howdy to all you and yours.
You got it, brother. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Later.